The vacuum press is needed for two different reasons: dry mounting and laminating. This vacuum press is called hot press and is manufactured in Great Britain by Drytech. Three different types are available. They differentiate between each other by varying dimensions. This is the smallest model, which has the HGP 260 code and can hold the picture with a maximum 89 by 120 cm dimension. The other two larger models are model HGP 360 with a hold dimension of 108 by 169 cm, model HGP 560 with a hold dimension of 128 by 250 cm. All the models work in the same way. The press is a type of case made up of two parts, the cover and the base. The cover is made up of two glass sheets with a hollow space in between. The sheet which is on the inside is made of a special glass which is electrically heated to reach a temperature of about 90 degrees. You have to therefore be careful not to touch it when it's warm. The base of the press is made of a layer of flexible rubber. Usually, a sheet of rubber foam is used to keep the pressure uniform. Also, a sheet of PVC can be used, or a sheet of silicone paper, which prevents the glue from sticking to the cover of the press. There are two closing devices on the side of the machine, which can be opened and closed like this. In this way, the vacuum press remains completely sealed to prevent the air from circulating from the outside to the inside of the machine. On the operating panel is a display with the set temperature, the button for switching on the machine, the timer, the button for switching on the suction pump, the pressure gauge, and the pressure regulating button. When the vacuum press is switched on, the internal temperature increases gradually until it reaches the set temperature. At this point, the suction pump starts functioning and sucks the air. The vacuum pushes the picture towards the support, whilst the heat melts the adhesive, so that the picture and the support stick to each other. This is the air suction pump. The pump has to be connected to the press by this electric wire, which has to be inserted to an outlet which is situated behind the press. The air is sucked through a red plastic tube, which connects the press to the pump. Before arriving to the pump, the air passes through a filter which includes an ampoule which is needed as a deposit for the water vapor and the water which condenses. You have to keep present, in fact, that the air arrives to the pump at a temperature of approximately 90 degrees. When the water will have reached a certain level, it has to be removed like this. I'll now show you a practical example of dry mounting. For the dry mounting, I'll use a piece of thermal adhesive material, which is called dry mount tissue, or rather a piece of special paper impregnated with adhesive on both sides. With the heat of the press, the adhesive melts, making the poster stick to the carton. I unroll the dry mount tissue on the table and I cut it so that it's slightly larger than the poster. I then take the carton and clean it to remove any trace of dust or fragments, as they'd be easily seen otherwise after the dry mounting. Also, the back of the poster has to be cleaned to remove any eventual material fragments. The poster has to be positioned exactly in the middle of the carton. I then move everything in the vacuum press. In this case, the support of the print is made of carton, but it could also be made of any other material such as hardboard, plywood, aluminum, etc., as long as the thickness doesn't go over 2 centimeters. I cover the poster with a sheet of silicone paper to avoid that the adhesive touches the press when it melts. Rinaldin provides these types and formats of silicone paper. I close the press with the closing devices. I start the suction pump up by pressing the appropriate button. I set the timer to 220 seconds. You can see that the number of seconds drops progressively. The first 20 seconds are needed to suck out the air completely from the inside of the press. By doing this, a pressure is created which pushes the poster against the carton. In the following seconds, the adhesive melts due to the heat and so makes the poster stick to the carton. At this point, the cycle blocks itself automatically. I open the closing devices and lift the cover of the press. I check that the silicone paper has stopped the adhesive from sticking to the machine. I unroll the silicone paper to make the removal of the poster from the press easier. I remove the poster from the press and place it on the table. The poster needs about a minute to cool off. We saw that the dry mount tissue is a special paper impregnated with adhesive on both sides. It's provided by Rinaldin in these formats. The alternative can be the super mount tissue, which doesn't need the silicone paper. If the print which you want to mount has an irregular surface, for example painting canvas, then it's preferable to use the dry mount film as the adhesive material, as it's a PVC film protected by silicone paper on both sides. It's also possible to apply protective film on top over a painting as to provide a shiny, opaque or satin finish with the vacuum press. I apply the protective film in this way. I insert the print inside the vacuum press underneath the polyurethane foam, which assures a uniform pressure. I close the press. Also for the lamination, the combined action of the air pressure and the heat makes the protective film stick to the poster. I set the timer to 5 minutes and 20 seconds. At the end of the set time, I switch out the press and remove the poster. These are the PVC films for laminating provided by Rinaldin. The gloss heat seal gives the subject a shiny finish. The satin matte heat seal gives the subject a semi-opaque satin finish. The matte heat seal is used to obtain an opaque finish. You will find the vacuum press and all the other accessories and materials in the catalogue of Rinaldin and on the website www.rinaldin.com.